Yes, and definitely another different question right now is that like even though Fibra and you have finally found that source like but we talk about them not being able to use like that precise sacred art spell containing papers that precisely Cardinal had given them. Right now, was the talking about like Kirito and Yujo means of that they have finally got back their souls. Like I'm considering Professor right now, considering for Yujo and Kirito right now, taking out those precise sacred art containing paper them right when they would be about to use the spell on that memorize the spell on that paper and use the spell on that paper to like release like the memories of contained within their throat like because they would be about to like do that personally preparing that especially in showing up to that first room and then they're like really attacking that causing like and it would be like if you show and you don't at that point would be having that chart down that basically at that point like they would be that like when that Night attacks like about the it would cause like both Yujo and Kito that sacred arts containing papers to get destroyed. So at that point, I was preparing Kipto and Yujo that being forced to like have no other option but to just I'm preparing at that point even with their sacred arts like spell containing papers now like still I'm preparing maybe with like at that point with like Yujo and Kipto getting at least getting back their swords like I was preparing them like feeling a bit more hopeful and confident that I'm preparing Kipto and Yujo using their swords. Uh, Trying to take on that self internet, but like them totally easily being or is like the scenario that I was living. So like at that point I was living and you being forced to like run and hide off somewhere in like the central cathedral building. Just it's like the scenario that I was living and like that process in Night like chasing after them, but like get to you then like still succeeding in like hiding somewhere within like the building of like the central cathedral. It's like the scenario that I was living and I'm still thinking to my personal ambitions that really then from that point on, like Kirito could only decided to like that use stealth for them to like basically make it all the way up to like the up to like the floor that's like even on top of like the floor that like even just above I think like just above the floor of like the top of the shuttle cathedral where like the where like maybe they would be like totally fitting to an lad to be potentially there at like, the top of the cathedral and like they would be like at that point like Christian you will be trying to like access go up to and try to like access like the floor that's like right above like the floor between and so that like that way they would be able to like access all that material that item that would like totally bring back the memories of like not just Elry but also like Alan. So while they would be like with that intent to like especially access that floor like they would be like passing by the stairs of like the top of the where yeah, I'm also bring like there, like I'm also bring you to and keep the totally spotting like Cleanella, who would be like at that point perfectly disguised as Alice, like perfectly disguised as Alice, like would do person there in like that floor. So like potentially the kids turn you will be about to like pass through that floor and try to make it towards the floor about like you most likely shockingly spotting Vienna there, but like while you do and Kipto might be not expecting Vienna in that or like then seeing like Alice all of a sudden this will be Vienna in disguise. So like at that point I was referring Yujo totally straight away genuinely believe that it's like Alice and only falling for like the straight of Greenland like Yujo totally running into that movement which it is there are preparing Kirito initially might also think that it might be Alice, but like without like Kirito feeling suspicious because not like the Kirito might have been expecting to analyze that one. So preparing, but still Yujo will have totally overcome the emotion that Yujo will only falling for the trap and like you before Kirito could shock with the like Yujo will totally going up to like Alice who will save the screen. You going towards like Quinella would be like the first advance and like right and itself was preparing Quinella or like attacking Hugo and basically President Quinella would be attacking Hugo like Kipto be jumping into like protect Hugo and like so that in such a manner like Quinella's attack would be like straight away landing on Kirito and like that attack of Quinella would be straight away injuring Kipto that Kipto won't be able to like fight at that point. So like at that point it would be all up to Hugo to stop Quinella at that point. So like especially because like Kirko only is able to like run off or move or even move like this will be only getting sidelined. So like At that point, I'm probably parting like you don't have no other option but to like fight off against Twinala. Like escape won't even be an option at that point, precisely because of get them killed. So like at that point, I was parting Yujo trying to fight Twinala, but like we like easily like totally overpowering. Even though Yujo been giving each other like absolute everything. Like Twinala, I'm probably still easily overpowering and defeating Yujo, and precisely as Twinala would be about to take Yujo's life at that very last second, I was just parting like Yujo precisely using that precise short sword that precisely Cardinal had given Yuga Kirito, that single short sword, and using the which like straight away like you just appearing in like landing that sword, attacking like that strike with that short sword, and straight away like you're not getting like instantly linked with like Cardinal is like the scenario that I'm about to bring, and straight away instantly like Cardinal being able to recognize what happened, that basically the short sword seems to have been used precisely against like Grenada. So like straight away I'm about to bring Cardinal like using her in like realizing that she's in like a link, currently in like a link state with like when the Cardinal straight away using some sort of a example, and instantly like most likely putting Grenada into like a hypnotized state, or like into like an unconscious, turning Grenada into an unconscious, remotely controlling Grenada and turning Grenada into like a hypnotized or like controlled or like an unconscious state. It's like the scenario that I'm also talking at that point. So like definitely my person to remember is well, like at that point I was remembering for like Kinto and Hugo totally being glad and totally singing, and then straight away saying that basically Queenula has been like finally defeated. So like at that point I was bringing Kinto a joyful Kirito, a joyful and relieved Kirito, and Hugo like straight away deciding to like go up to like the floor above, and basically after would be like exactly about to act like the I think like the item that could that would restore back like the memories of Alice as well as Eltry, like before they can get their hands on it, like I'm such burning like Queen all of a sudden like showing up. That's like the scenario. Either Queen or like Alice all of a sudden like showing up right there. In the internet night, Alice like showing up right there, like the scenario that I'm also bring. So like I'm also bring what might be happening at that point would be perfectly while Kirito and Yujo would have totally assumed that they have defeated like and even while precisely the cardinal as well might be totally think that they're really using like the link like state like cardinal has well has succeeded in like finally defeating to Indiana. About that whole or confidence like, that whole or confidence of all of them totally getting taken advantage of by Tuela still somehow even while being in her link state with like cardinal like state. Tuela somehow succeeding in managing to last bit of that effort from Tuela, like Tuela should somehow managing to like still outsmart all of them, and basically either Tuela basically getting herself out of like using some sort of like a unique setup as well, like Vanilla getting somehow managing to like pull through and get her out of like the link like state with like Cardinal. This is like one positive and the bring like the other positive is basically Vanilla totally like taking somehow managing to like take advantage of like the link like state of with Cardinal to which resulting in like Queen actually being able to like control Cardinal as well. And that way Queen remote controlling Cardinal and turning Cardinal as well into like a villain, like into doing villainous things like Queen. That's like the popular that I'm also doing. So anyway, it will be through like such a process that I'm also putting that Queen will be like finally pulling through, and like just straight away like Queen, the next thing Queen would be doing would be either herself like showing up to like the floor above to attack it and Yujo, or like I'm also putting it would be like her straight away ordering like Night Alice to like the floor above to like attack Gather Kirito and Yujo. So like I'm also putting either if it's like the Night Alice that like showing up to like the floor above, then I'm also putting like that at that point for like most likely it even to be like especially if Kirito even then would be like injured from the fight with like Vienna and separating Yujo. So like at that point I'm also only trying Kirito would be like in a more badly injured state when compared to Yujo. So like at that point I'm also putting like with ads showing up and like kids and videos straight away, like having a feeling that basically Queen has like survived. So like at that point, but something like precisely like user coming with user was likely coming up with like the plan and idea to like have a duel against like the integrity and like Alex, and like in that duel like it will be a conditional duel, but like you don't be telling Alex that basically like you have to listen to everything you just say, so like she will leave. So like with that, I'm also preferring like them having like their conditional duet and like Alice totally like you just still somehow trying because of you just like extreme you don't be in such an extremely emotional state and you will be fighting off against like Alice because due to like that extreme desire and ultimate goal of you to like somehow bring Alice back precisely because of that ring somehow like because we just so badly want to like save Alice more than anyone else like I'm also bringing that fight like you just somehow being able to like release a bit of like the memories of his soul and that way like you just being able to like keep up with like Alice's power and the Night Alice's power and able to overpowering and defeating Alice and so like that way like Alice as part of like the conditional deal like Alice being forced to like listen to his being his and so you just ordering Alice to like okay follow get the video and then trying to like totally escape out of like the center cathedral building and then at that point like because they will be trying to like make it out of like the building like they will be like completely found out by other Internites and so like they will be chased after by other Internites like so at that point I was preparing it to and Yujo and Alice like totally running and hiding and making it all the way finally eventually leaving to like the White Dragon cave and through there like then like deciding to like escape into like the darker way which is like one of like the opportunities that I'm looking for and my passenger impression. Also, like according to my passenger impression, that after like that whole conditional duel between like user and Kirito, or like user which somehow would be able to like eventually for and defeat Alice. Like at that point, even though like at that point, like most likely that would be even be like that duel would most likely would even be taking place in like the floor right above like where Queen Ella would be, so that like Ego would be straight away having like that precise magical item that would like only restore like the memories of Al. But still, I'm also trying to suggest Ego after defeating Alice, like Ego with only feeling hopeful and will be about to take that precise magical item and try to like would be about to take that magical item. Right then, I'm also bring most likely another set of like a whole group of like Egyptian most likely entering into that room. So and attacking and like hit Yujo and hit the Yujo. So that at that point, like at that very last second, once again, like Yujo not being able to like get his hands on that magical item and like but there will be I'm just saying there will be a great number of like Internet that will showing up and attacking. So that like Yujo and Kirito would be like extremely they would have no option but to like escape. They would be like only and absolutely forced to like escape. Even while in that room, there will be Alice, the IntegrityKnight Alice as well as that magical item. But still, at that very last second, like Yujo still not being able to like achieve his goal, and then Kirito and Yujo and Alice being totally forced to like escape, and basically that way, like them being on the verge of like succeeding in their goal but still failing and that way like them being forced to like run and make it all the way eventually into like getting into like the laughter phase like around like the scenario virtual scenario that I'm also bring in the temperature. Okay, like mentioning the temperature is that like experiments that ultimate fear eventually actually ends up ending up being free with like eventually like at this point in like the future like basically the all the entire army of like orcs and goblins from like Darker Tree like trying to like invade and take over like the human territory. If like such a scenario even happens in like the distant future, then I'm for possibly a scenario which like straight away itself like Hidala, the offensively or confronting Hidala as well as like her army of like Indian Knights and highest is like straight away heading off to that precise to like the precise location where like the army of orcs and goblins will be extremely huge army of like orcs and goblins will be trying to like take over like will be beginning their attempt to like collectively trying to like fully take over like the human army and in that fight I'm also talking maybe for Guinella as well as like her army to like totally be destroyed and defeated. It's like the scenario that I'm also so like I'm also bringing maybe like the majority of the Green Knight and highest priest army of Guinella either dying by the hands of like the great, even more greater number of huge number of like army of like orcs and goblins, and precisely Quirrell most likely being affected and taken into like the darker fate. And it's like a possible scenario that I'm looking for like the very distant future. And at that point, there will be only just a short time before like the orcs and goblins which is taking like making like their next move which will be like precisely then take over like the entire state of like the human suffering. So like about the brain it's quite a scenario happens in like the future about the totally brain. Um possibly around such similar scenario happening in like just in teacher, and at that point I'm possibly by then like Kirito would have totally made it to like the human her brain would be like only hiding in like the human brain. So like at that point I'm also predicting like the scenario is like definitely Kirito deciding to like be take over like the human brain and be in charge of like the human brain, because like at that point Kirito would be like totally well and fully aware as to like what's up ahead, like what's about to happen like real soon with like the orcs and goblins, like the army force and goblins would be like real soon, would be about to like fully destroy and take over like the entire human surface. So like at that point, I'm considering possibly I'm considering a scenario which like Kitto as well as Yujo would be like straight away, and most likely by then Alice as well would be like straight away entering into like the central cathedral, and precisely at that point I'm considering Kitto and Yujo precisely taking all the like precisely taking this these exact precise armors that the a great number of armors that are present in like the central cathedral. Put into like the central cathedral by Queen like Kirito and Yujo wearing those best armors present in like the central cathedral, as well as like Kirito and Yujo training with like training in fighting and learning to fight with those armors, as well as like Kirito and Yujo like totally trying to take the trying to make the best of that short time that Kirito and Yuzo would be having, and Alice would be having to precisely train. Like I'm going to bring at that point, precisely not, and I'm going to bring this would all be like leading to like Kirito being able to like achieve his goal, because like according to Alice, even while currently like in the present, like according to Cardinal only expects like two eventual possibilities where like one would be like the human three totally being destroyed by like the or and take over by like the taken over by like the army of orcs and goblins, and like the other possibility being like somehow like Cardinal through Kirito and Yugo like somehow eventually being able to like defeat Queen and basically at that point for like Cardinal to like wipe out like the entirety of like the virtual world of Underworld. Even though Cardinal would be only seeing these two possibilities, but never was the emergence that like eventually it would be Kirito's desire and Kirito's goal, which would be like a total exception to these two, which is in fact like the total exception to these two that would be definitely usually be a success. It's like definitely one person generation, and that's like how Kirito would be making that a goal of Kirito a success by essentially saving everyone in like the Kirito way would be precisely by like totally taking advantage of that short time, that Kirito would be getting once like funeral and her army would be captured by like the army of like orcs and goblins before like the orcs, and before like that short time before like the orcs and goblins would be making their next attack on like to fully invade like the human range before in that short time like I was bring Kirito and Yujo and else totally like training like the entirety of like the human civilians in like the human survey, and like giving them all this like superior armor from like the precise building of like the central cathedral, which like if when you do right now is seeing like that would all like eventually fall under the hands of like not just Kirito and Yujo but all the civilians, human civilians in like the inventory. It's like the scenario that I'm going to bring, and like wearing all those armors like Kirito and Yujo would be like precisely trained, like you would be using all of their experience that have gained not just throughout their life but also the experience they have gained from like the experience of teaching and everything that they had even gained through like teaching and sword skills and everything that they had only gained through like the sword arts academy, and as well like they will Kirito and Yujo be only putting that into like absolute good use by precisely training like all the human civilians to build swords and fight with like while wearing armor and everything. And Alice as well would be totally by then would be totally having getting back her memories as well. It's also like a scenario that I'm also so while Kipto and Hugo would be training the precise majority that would be like that would only be able to like handle swords. I'm going to bring like Alice would be precisely training like the minority that would be having like a flavor or like a potential for like handling magic and sacred art. It's like the scenario that I'm going to bring. So like at that point, like finally the final showdown war is what I was expecting. Where like the on one side it would be like the such as like the in that final showdown like the army of like goblins and orcs like trying to like launching their attack and trying to invade and take over like the human territory, while like the entirety of like the humans through like their gained experience and increased object control authority through Kirito and Yujo and Alice like training like basically them totally taking up their swords and with their fighting while wearing armors and everything and then that they have killed the civilians fighting back to protect their human debris from the dark debris government and also such an attack and that way through that attack the humans finally succeeding in defending their human debris and the offset and the great number of offset goblins still eventually it's only being overpowered and defeated so the remaining offset goblins would be feeling as if they stand no chance of taking over the human country that they would be fearfully retreating back to the remaining few orcs and goblins fearfully returning back to the dark country. The eventual scenario that I'm looking at that way Kipto finally achieving his own ultimate goal, which was totally different to the possibilities of the future that started a few possibilities of the future of the virtual brother Thunderbird or the human theory that Alice had at that garden had been predatory Kirito achieving his own goal that being different to it by Kirito succeeding protecting the life of each and every single one the civilians in the human theory. It's potential final. This would be around such a final eventual scenario is what I'm considering right now and my personal ambition. Yeah, so definitely my personal ambition right now. Actually, it really you are faced with an intent and something. Exactly, you would have totally forgotten about that paper containing the spell, sacred art spell given to them by Cardinal to release all the memories, which will most likely to release all the memories that they contain within their souls and that way to power up their souls so that they could take on even intelligent and so considering Kirito and Yujo would have totally forgot even though they got their souls back they would have totally forgot just to use that sacred art spell on about their souls. The scenario that I'm looking so right now and considering without being able to release the memory contained within the source Kirito and Yujo currently because of that Kirito and Yujo currently being absolutely no match against this exact red against this red in the United the scenario that I'm looking so at that point with Kirito and Yujo totally being overpowered by that civil process in the United Kirito and Yujo being forced to going to escape, trying to escape escape and going to hide somewhere in the 100 floor building of central Calcutta is the scenario that I'm delivering. I'm was delivering maybe after hiding would be when it and you go to and realize that basically okay so for the reason they were able to defeat that precise Indian night even that single Indian night even while they were they were two against even while the fight was 2 against 1 and they both had their source in that position was precisely because of what Cardinal had said. So I was different still while Joe would be trying to then most likely use their whole spell on the sword I was trying maybe another internet so if I get value Joe definitely at that you don't only losing that paper it's the scenario that I'm delivering and that way them not being able to get the easy I'm so definitely still thinking my person that definitely that Sacred spell that Colonel gave to Kid Value would not only eventually getting destroyed, and that way Kid Value won't be able to so easily just because through Cardinal's help and all easily get that major power upgrade and release their swords in such a manner would be that would be one thing that won't be happening with definitely not the grapes. As for in such a manner eventually the different Kid and Yujo having to take the hard way and working their way into through their battles with and through their battles and through the experience gained through those battles would be precisely how Kirito and Yujo will eventually through precisely hard work will be eventually even be able to release fully finally release the memories of their sword is the scenario that I'm going to only for Kirito and Yujo. It's definitely my person to impression. So definitely my person to impression right now as through the perfect weapon control of the internet surrounding and guarding itself to achieve the plane I was delivering. Definitely as well the conclusion of Kirito as to what the source of that for would be and for the Kirito the conclusion as to what the source of all that plane from coming from which the core would be. And my person to impression is since this is Kirito's own sword itself has the elemental power of flame and fire and considering the current weapon perfect weapon control are of the perfect red grenade that can you use fighting off against that might actually the perfect weapon control arc of that the grenade might actually allow it to like basically train and steal away like the not permanently steal away, but like to be might like that perfect weapon controller might allow that Integritity Knight to like use like the power of its opponent and make it its own. It's definitely my personal preference. So like I'm just preferring like it might be Kirito's own source like flame power. That will be the source source of like the flame that's like currently guarding that precise Integritity Knight. Is definitely my personal theory and prediction. So like Kirito would be only realizing that this only in like most likely maybe in like the city terms definitely my personal theory and prediction. So like precisely so my personal theory and predictions that precisely as this Integritity Knight would be like a red Integritity Knight would be not only able to like access Kit and extend use Kirito's like the power contained within Kirito's sword, but also I'm differing like this Integritity Knight like after like the flame shielding like power I'm considering as like the fight progress like in this present day night possibly when using like an ice type shield or like attack next is like also like a positive that I'm considering and that will be precisely this present day night using its like a perfect control weapon control art like basically accessing and using even you just like icy element power of contained within like you just like blow of soda like and using the power of that to like against like both Kirito and Yugo is like the which is scenario that I'm observing on the program of the impression. So like definitely my positive impression right now for like the conflagration to affect the red Indian and I was bring it would definitely be like the flame covered like current bow that like the Indian Knight is using to like fight against like Kirito and Yugo. It's definitely one of the considerations, and especially to that according to like that professor read in the United it's been 2 years since we had last access to that this exact power of like the conflagration bow. I'm also talking like that news of this precise exact in the United has in fact fought up against like someone 2 years back who had like theory element being against like some opponent or enemy who had like basically this precise exact flame wielding sword and whose power that basically this using the perfect weapon technique like this precise exact breath in the Knight had basically used that such theory element contained within that sword of that enemy that this precise in the Knight had fought up against in like back like 3 years back. That's definitely my personal impression. So like definitely I'm considering that enemy might maybe even be alive even to the person they are well. It's also like a positive that I'm different. So like that person is like that person of that opponent is like if he's like even alive to the person like I'm considering him to like still be having like his sword as well still be being like not having been destroyed as well is definitely not considering. So like still to the person that sword of that mysterious opponent of like this like in the right from 2 years back would still might be like that sword would still be intact as that sword still would be containing that flame within it, like that theory element within it. Without a name I was mention and I'm looking for maybe that character who ever that character is like maybe I'm also putting like to like eventually at some point run into like that character in like the future is like also like a positive and about maybe that mistake so like my positive relationship like for like once eventually possibly once get told with only running into that mysterious character who has who definitely would be having like experience like building flame swords swords with like flame fire element within it like I'm also bring through him like I'm also bring it to learning a lot about like his own sword flame sword. It's definitely my personal favorite and skip of being able to like wield and use and swing and fight way better using his flame sword through like the knowledge and experience that it will be gaining through that mysterious gap. Such a scenario happening in like the future is also like a scenario that I'm going to talk about. Like, maybe in this mysterious gap currently his like whereabouts might be even in like the after way also like about the that and different. So like about the also something maybe it would be after like get ready to appearing in like a few analysts and basically indefinite analysis and maybe once they will be like escaping all the way into like the after trade, maybe it might get that point that crypto might even run into this size gap. It's also like a scenario that I'm supposed to be of like a possible that I'm supposed to be preparing for like the future. So like my question to the is also for like a remote maybe possibility of like this mysterious character being that professor that character from like the darker way that had basically tried to like reach out to Alice, causing like Alice to even pass over like the step over into like the step into like the darker way. That process mysterious like fight who was like fighting off against like the against like an Internet in like the dark way like that. But we so that's fighter from like the dark way who are currently right then present in like the dark way wearing like wielding like dark weapons and dark armor. It's like maybe like that might be like the precise this precise exact mysterious fighter. It's definitely my photo like about that I'm looking for and about the rainbow. My personal impression was that like if this is in fact like the case, then about to bring that process in their night against whom that mysterious like fighter from like the where building like dark weapons and dark armor like had even so seem to belong to like the dark way during that point in time like basically the process in their night against him who he had fought up against in front of like Alice and Kirito and Yujo back then. About the parang that person in their night might be like the present current in their night in like red armor that basically Kirito and Yuzo would be fighting off against. It's also like a possibility that I'm also on different thing. And that was the introduction. Yes, so like definitely my working the impression right now is definitely for like Kirito's current present strategy to like totally succeed and like Yuzo being able to like totally take advantage of like that small gap to precisely be able to like land the sword strike on precisely like using the blow rope sword on precisely that precise red in the United States, like the scenario that I was covering, but still considered different that attack of users like not even do any damage at all. So that precise in the United solely and it was just only because of like that in the United like surrounding himself with this like a flamey like fire like defense. It's definitely my first impression because like you just like Blue swords like element itself is like ice. But the parang ice won't be able to like do any sort of like even remote significant damage at all to like the flames like fire like defense um of the red in the night. Only due to like that fire defense existing above the burning like those like ice element Blora swords right not being able to like do any sort of like even remote damage at all. Like the scenario that I was literally running and not the range. And at that point I was literally prepping for it to be game over for Kirito. Kirito being balanced, both Kirito and Ibu being at that point being like fully convinced that no matter what strategy that they would be like they can even use currently against like this effect rather than I like it's still wouldn't be strong enough to be able to like bring down or even cause any sort of like significant damage at all to it. The fact around in the might would be like crypto and user most likely being convinced from at that point. It's like the scenario that I'm looking at. So like crypto totally deciding to like head off with like head to like plan B, and that would be to like totally like focus on escaping from this like avoiding captivity and escaping and hiding somewhere in like the precise central cabinet of the building to keep so that like they could keep proceeding with like their whole mission to like get that precise item that can restore back like the memory of Alice and like of like the others possibly would be interesting in that plot about like the plot in it or plot about like the plot experience. So like I can you go instead like deciding to like instead going with the for plan B, which would be like stealthily make it to process escape from this ensure to like not fight any of like the interference that or pretending like the several cathedral and like the like that with self focus only on like stealthily like accessing being able to like get to like those precise magical items that can restore back the memory. So like Kirito and Ijo after like definitely losing to those like precise rather than like sticking to that plan and even attempting to achieve that is like the scenario that I'm looking at right now. So like I'm still sticking to my personal impression right now that basically like Yuzo even like infusing his like Loro sword with like that absolute thought of like that's right and deep desire to refute at all costs like even while Kirito will be like infusing all that desire into the sword and while Yuzo will be like landing the sword right this was like lower of sword like I'm considering and not likely once like it will be infusing all that thoughts like fully infusing all that thoughts about Alice into lower of sword I'm considering lower of sword most likely being covered by like an ice element like it's like around like a scenario that I'm considering either you just like lower of sword being covered by an ice element or like as you just so you don't be like swinging to like lower of sword towards that original and like a nice kind of like ice element attack like being sent directly towards like that precise red indefinite, but still solely because it would be like an I'm still thinking to my person for instance that like still even while Udo currently would be giving to like absolute everything behind that single source, for example, the product still solely because it being like the fight between like an ice element versus ice element of Udo versus like the fire element of the red indefinite, precisely because of the fire elements would be having like the advantage against the ice. There is order reason I'm right now predicting like even this ultimate attack of Yujo, sword strike attack of Yujo as well, and not being able to like cause any sort of like significant damage at all to like the Indian Knight. Is like the scenario that I'm only predicting and still thinking on to and my percentage embarrassment. So like definitely my percentage embarrassment right now for this precise reputation and even say like from one end of like the realm of humanity to the other, we haven't seen like sword skills like it and users like I'm precisely like from one end of like the realm of humanity would totally have to do with like him possibly most likely having like until recently like him most likely until recently when like I'm participating most likely Queen might not only decided to like summon him because like he might have been definitely exceptionally strong. Queen might not only decided to like summon him. His like actual job cost and duty might have been precisely on that like core territory area of like the uh, of like the end of like the human suffering, which is like the end mountain area to like the beginning of like the dark suffering, which is like which would be like the perfect area in which like all these past years like that he might have been suffering funeral doing this job. It's definitely my personal emotion. Especially since like he's like the character in the Dead Knight is like aged and kind of seriously old as well. And also thought about this might be that very same society in Dead Knight that had basically fought off against that dark Dark Knight as well, who was on top of like another dragon as well. That whole fight that took place in like the dark, in like the front of like the darker way, which like caused Alice to like accidentally step into like the darker way. So like the precise Integral Knight that has fought against that mysterious Dark Knight might have been protected with exact Integral Knight is like my personal impression that I'm still sticking on to, as well as like that precise Dark Integral Knight that was defeated by this precise that precise Dark Knight protected after way that was like defeated by this precise Integral Knight might have been like the precise person, like it might have been in that precise fight that basically that basically the precise industrial knight might have even been able to like use and have access to like the flame bow power for like the first time. It might have happened like and my personal theory impression that like this industrial knight's like whole memory might have been tampered with and manipulated to basically bring him to this like for like month like winner might have summoned him from that position and that post to something directly on like the central cathedral and those departing like when he was summoned in such a manner to the central cathedral like Unida might have totally tampered with and manipulated his memory and that might be the person's own reason for like him even thinking that it was only 2 years back that he had basically fought up against like such a flame bow like powers which definitely might have been interesting when in actuality like the last time he might have fought up with like such flame bow like powers like flaming powers like Emperor Thing. It might have been precisely during that fight way back in like the way back in like the past but in front of like the in the front of like the dark against that precise dark knight which like back that whole fight that took place back when like Yujo, Kirito, and Alice were only children. It's definitely my personal impression. Okay, so like definitely my personal impression right now as for like the process right in Night and like the early floors of like the central cabinet being precisely given the orders and definitely all these orders were usually given by Serena. So like that professor right in Night given the precise order to like capture that Kirito and Yujo alive while at the same time like the great number of intergenerations in like the 50th floor like center gather being precisely given the orders to precisely destroy Kirito and Yujo's life. Like states the life would be part of that order. So like precisely like there being like a shift in like the orders given to like the intergenerations at like the 50th floor from like the beginning floors of like the center gather would totally and solely have to do with like Quinola actually genuinely being like fearful towards like Kirito and Hugo. If there definitely might have been might exist like a certain level of fear even within like the or thought fear towards precisely Kirito and Hugo, especially my personal fear and Benjamin. but the totally different thing. Maybe it might have to do like Queen most likely having like effect like how um, because explain exactly like how a cardinal had sent her like a tiny bug to through like the tiny bugs of cardinal. Cardinal had like basically witnessed like the entirety of like the adventure like and like the progress that Kito and Yuyo made ever since they left Rolled and so to protect especially in a similar manner like through most likely similar insects like especially Queen as well might have witnessed like progression in like Kito and Yuyo's journey as like they and like the multiple times they had like faced like thoughts that were like greatly against them and yet like were able to like overcome them. And this I feel like there's a reason for like vanilla deep down having like certain level of fear towards like especially Kirito and Yuzo and like as you know even expecting like the expecting beforehand like the possibility of like Kirito and Yuzo being able to like make it all the way to like the 50th floor of like the central gather and if such a scenario even happens like basically it will certainly due to that extreme fear that Moose might like within feel because like from Hugo's point of view, whenever we think that if Kipto and Hugo are actually able to like make it to all the way to like the 50th floor of like the 100th floor containing Center Kadar, then that's under Kadar building. Then like I'm separating from Hugo's point of view, Fiona would be only thing that like then Kipto and Hugo would be like uh seriously strong to be able to like even make it all the way to like the 50th floor. So in that case, like the order like we might not only decided to like shift the order from like the beginning of like the central government to catch up return you go and I from changing that to like the order of the go to all the great number of the Internites in like the nuclear clause that only extinguish like the lives of Kirito and Yujo. Simply because if Kirito and Yujo actually makes it to like the nuclear score, then Quilina would be genuinely afraid for herself that like the positive like at that point like Kirito and Yujo taking it to the nuclear score will be from Quilina's point of view will be greatly increasing the possibility of like Kirito and Yujo then if like she ordered like the internet great number of internet and like just lost to capture kitten user and like that will be like greatly increasing the possibility of like kitten and user being able to like able to like offer like the great number of internet and like this is just store as well and make it to like the Sweden would be at like the very top of like the of that land possibly if that happens like basically Sweden would be absolutely fearful that basically that that crypto and user the team of crypto and user might actually offer and to face Sweden that Sweden might be generally just considering such a possibility and it might be sort of the reason for like the elimination of kid and do the or given to like the great number of the data and I think like the biggest law of the center government stuff never working to render. Yes, so like but never working to render right now is definitely for like Chipto and Hugo to like not get carried away just because they were able to like defeat like the right Italian I think like the beginning flaws of early flaws of like the central cathedral of like the hundred flaws central cathedral and that's so especially because of that I'm just only working Kito and Yujo like definitely actually taking it like the I think it's very nice to words of warning seriously and those different so especially once like Kito and Yujo will be making it all the way to like the fifth law but like Kito and Yujo like totally doing their absolute maximum to like maintain that stealth and to avoid the conflict like between against those great number of Indians and like the Soviet bloc. But still, I'm also preferring like that self attempt of Kirito and Yujo totally failing in like the Soviet bloc and them totally getting found out by the great number of Indians like the scenario that I'm also preferring. But still, I'm also preferring separately Kirito and Yujo because they would be like having totally taken like the word of warning of like the Indian seriously about the Varangit and you just still even after getting found out by the other by the greater and I feel like the skills for and the Varang still here and you just still sticking to like and focus and still sticking to like self and trying to like get away and hide away from all those great number of and that will be chasing after Kid and you and then about the Varangit and you to like actually succeed in like getting away and escaping from like those great number of interactions by totally avoiding a fight. This like the scenario that I'm doing. And that way, like it's when you're probably moving forward, upward. moving forward upward, like the plot of like certain memory. It's like the scenario that I'm just without developing. Oh, it's like definitely not in the direction right now that like even though the red in the internet so badly wants like either killed or you to take it life. I'm not sure if liberating neither kid or not even taking his life at all. It's like the scenario that happened to me, and at that point, for like that professor in the night, to be so extremely disappointed that like he's actually attempting to like take his own life by himself. It's like the scenario that I'm referring, but right then I'm precisely either kid or age to like precisely stop from being able to do that, and I'm totally preventing precisely kid most likely either kid or age like making a promise the thing that basically especially because of what that affects Indian Night believes is like the fate ahead that lies ahead for him. The first reason for him trying to even take his own life and going there only precisely pressing for Kirito only either Kirito or Yuzo like totally making this absolute promise to that successor at Indian Night that they will go ahead and they will make it all the way to the top of the Central Cathedral and they will defeat Queen Ella. And then after defeating Queen Ella, they will in fact set that successor at Indian Night as well as like everyone in like the human are free. Like that would be like announced such a promise by either Kid or Ujo to like that are internet what I'm talking and that way giving like enlightening a hope within like that red internet giving that red internet that absolute hope and like that red internet place which is like absolute trust in the words of like Kid or Ujo that they would be able to like defeat Canada and precisely and only because of that, I'm totally Franklin totally deciding to like refrain from taking his own life. It's like the scenario that I'm totally and my percentage temperature is well, even though I'm totally for either kid and you or both of them, like making that promise to that says in the night. I was separating like them not being able to like neither kid nor you being able to like at all fulfill that promise right now because like right now according to my earlier theory even though I was separating like you most likely being able to like use that like short sword on precisely vanilla and that way like it will be precisely through like once they make it to the top of the central because they're like in that fight like it will be most likely through the short knight short sword and basically the linking with like cardinal through which like I was separating even though initially vanilla would be defeated through cardinal it's like a scenario that I'm separating still even then I'm still second members in the revolution of like vanilla still somehow being able to like snap out of like the like linking linking process like and being able to like still somehow cancel the either cancel like the linking process of that when left figuring out a way to take advantage of the linking process so anyway still be of like that absolute threat to like Kirito and Yujo that Kirito and Yujo would be totally at that point itself would be forced to like retreat and escape from like the central cathedral building and like the only thing I'm preparing right now for Kirito and Yujo to accomplish is definitely for like them to be able to like get Alice with them, the internet Alice with them, like, and they won't be even succeeding in like the accessing like that whole memory restoring item that's like on the floor right above like the top floor where like vanilla would be. That Twitter and even not even being able to access that even though Twitter and Udo and even though my person reproduction like Twitter and Udo should only escape from like the building, the center cathedral eventually with like the internet Alice. And so like with that like even though Twitter and Udo won't be able to like keep like their promise that I'm different they will be making to like this professor at the destination right now and the different still Kipto and Yujo definitely succeeding in like fulfilling the and considering that like basically Kipto and Yujo not being able to like fulfill that promise and differing even at that point differing like even though currently Kipto and Yujo not being able to like fulfill their promise to the precise red in their item personally still pressing for him to like still even after realizing that as well like him still placing his like faith and trust that like even though not right now like at least one day in like the future like Kipton Yujo would definitely be succeeding in like fulfilling that promise he made to him so that I'm also supporting like that red in the night even after realizing this like yeah, not realizing Kipton Yujo weren't fairly able to like defeat Quinella like still he deciding not to take his own like it's like the scenario that I'm going and that way like him getting frozen by Quinella is also like the scenario that I was delivering, but still I'm delivering eventually like the resistance with the ones like Kirito and Yuzo would be finally defeating Quinella at that point. Either defeating Quinella or like I'm delivering it will be a scenario which like finally Kirito and Yuzo that would be like even rescuing Quinella. Once like Quinella would be like eventually like the resistance would be like eventually as Quinella would be or confidently trying to wage war against like the army, great army of like great giant army of like orcs and goblins from the darker realm. Like in that war, like possibly Quinella and her army of IntegrityKnight like already defeated, and Quinella was not likely being affected by like the orcs and goblins. And so, yes, like the orcs and goblins would be like, and especially since like Quinella won't even be able to like use her administrative powers at all in like the darker realm. So like that way, Quinella being taken into like the darker realm, so there's like either the orcs or goblins or like their leaders will be like about to take Quinella like at that very last second, hit talk most likely maybe even saving Quinola, and that way Quinola's mind totally changing and Quinola possibly even changing and shifting into like the side of good, and that way it would be either in such a manner that I was to the ring for Quinola to like unfreeze the precise right in their night at that point, or like the other possibilities like eventually at like the distributor Kirito only offering and defeating Quinola, and at that point like most likely Kirito himself being able to like unfreeze and save all the the precise right in their night, like the other possible distant user to the scenario that I'm also remembering and my Google remembers. So that definitely I'm looking to remember right now. So like the right in that night name itself being like the soul bird and personally remembering. Uh, especially because like it is like an old man as well. I'm personally remembering the soul bird might actually be like the father of like Humbert and like might share a lot of similarities in like facial appearance with like Humbert that way. It's like the scenario that I'm considered only protecting. And maybe like Kito and Yuzo like totally finding out like trying to see his like space right now or like about the current it would be like only like the distant future when Kito and Yuzo would be like unfreezing or saving the red Egyptian at that point I'm going to putting maybe him taking off his mask and like Kito and Yuzo shock possibly to see his face having extreme the similarity to like the face of man and that way get to a new job. But like that way, like get to a new job, most likely realizing that this he might actually be like the father of Ham, but it's also like a scenario, initial scenario that I'm going to bring another story introduction. Okay, so like the pandemic of the representation right now is that like it would be solely due to like yeah, the extreme immaturity. You go being like extremely immature would be like the sole reason for like you go totally feeling like getting revenge for like that internet and taking Alice away in like the past. And basically even for you go to like even see like the red internet as such an extreme villain when in reality like you will be only like you totally being unable to comprehend that like that act of like that internet like the past taking Alice away was solely him doing his um doing following his orders given to him precisely by Quinella. Like Quinella, him going accordingly to the rules set by precisely Quinella, which if the precise red Indian knight had like disobeyed, like then that would be like an instant that would be like the consequence for himself for the red Indian knight as well. And hence this red Indian knight as well as every other Indian knight are forced to like as well as like all the citizens are actually forced to like obey and play accordingly to like Srinivas rules. And while adding up all that, like the actual villain, true villain being like Vanilla, especially the sort of definitely members in the remnants like especially Ujo for Ujo to like not being able to like realize all the to be precisely and totally due to like Ujo extreme immaturity, which makes which totally will be getting Ujo extremely over emotional to the point of like actually wanting to like naively wanting to like get revenge and take the life of this precise for right in their night and in a manner of like getting revenge would be all like Yujo even thinking that way would be solely due to like Yujo being extremely immature. It's definitely my personal investment, but just very Yujo that like currently immature and thus bring him to like grow a lot and mature a lot as he travels alongside Kirito and like faces of in all sorts of uncertain situations along with like along with like Kirito like basically as like Kirito journeys more and more with Kirito and Kirito differing. that whole stay cool, reminding of Kirito's with Yujo, like basically Yujo eventually finally realizing the true essence of that word, of like those words of like stay cool, as like Yujo would be eventually maturing to like in like the future, like even Yujo totally maturing to the point that Yujo would actually able to like remind without even a gift of help, like Yujo would be able to like actually eventually remind himself to like stay cool, and eventually Yujo even maturing even more to the point where like Yujo would even have to like remind himself to like stay cool, that Yujo would be able to like see things with like the very same clarity as Kirito, so that like ego wouldn't have this wouldn't have this like extreme feelings of getting a revenge, and would be able to like see the actual cause of like the people around him like doing like their extremes, what he had believed was like extreme villains, like the precise causation and like the reason behind them that even doing so, or connecting to precisely Guinella, this one person, Guinella and Guinella alone, and you don't only realize that Guinella is like the only actual villain that needs to be taken down and brought down. And like along such manner, like ego eventually totally maturing eventually is like the scenario that I'm developing for like the future. So like Nina doesn't get impression like for like precisely 8 years back, like the size of Indian like being promoted from guarding like the northern borders to like basically guarding like the center of Canada, like working to like even get such a precise promotion precisely 8 years back. But it was totally and solely had to do with like him being like the precise Indian that had brought Alice to like the center Canada precisely 8 years back. Definitely my passenger rating. So let's precisely my passenger rates were like when Alice had broken like the taboo index. My passenger rating that instantly Quinella might have been collateral. Quinella might have been extremely curious in like the human ants, especially because of like Alice being like the very first human to even break, even to dare to even break the taboo index. That will be like along the line when it was like an actual accident by out of Alice's part when Alice even broke the taboo index. Like I'm going to think from Glenda's point of view, Glenda might have only gave that as like the only human that was like daring enough to actually raise like the taboo index. Might have been along the lines of Glenda might have also like Glenda might have been extremely intrigued and curious about like the character of Alice, that Glenda might have especially ordered that in their DNA to precisely capture and bring Alice, not and send Alice not to the prison, but like precisely bring capture and bring Alice to precisely like the central government. So like or maybe even to like the top of like the purpose. Where I'm personally totally pertaining that when I might have totally even back that 8 years back might have only met Alice and talked to Alice, and like when what might have seriously interested when I'm going to bring it might be only that the fact that they like there might be like multiple reasons that multiple things that Quinlan might have saw in Alice that made Alice totally extremely unique and different from every other female. And what like the main reason might have been the exact thing that Quinlan might have totally felt that basically Alice was like a lot more flexible and had the potential to be it turned into an integrity, and I like Alice would have like the potential to be a lot more flexible internet, an internet that will be limited by the fear of breaking the taboo index. That would be like a special internet according to like Finland's point of view, because like Finland might have never had like such an internet, because like then that internet army of Finland might be exactly all around like the very same. And like them always like strictly following the taboo index, and then totally being having that extreme lack of flexibility of like through them all of the each and every single one goes in the net, well, they're fully being controlled by fear. Well, when at the same time in Alice, what we in the method only feel would be like a way more flexible in their finite that can that can perform even way that precisely due to that extreme superior flexibility would be like able to like perform way better than like all the other will be able to perform way better, and that way even get way stronger. Would be having like the potential to even be eventually be like a lot more stronger than all the other internet might have been like precisely what vanilla might have totally seen in this definitely and it would be like surprising that vanilla might have only found like it. extremely special in and especially my particular impression. So but even while Finland might have also realized that they really had like a really like exceptional talent in like sacred aspect as well. But I'm also to Finland might have been like straight away might have even felt like a bit threatened that basically Alice had such extremely high sacred spell levels as well, potential as well. So, and also for instance, like Gwenda might have only that definitely Gwenda might have Gwenda's mindset might have definitely be that she should be like the only person who should actually be able to like perform like all this like exceptionally high level, the top high level sacred spells and everything. It should be something only Gwenda alone should be known would be like something that would be like extremely compulsory for Quinla. Uh, in Quinla's mindset is certainly not the so like Quinla precisely might have decided like with all these reasons like Quinla might have precisely seen like the absolute IntegrityKnight command, personal commander of Quinla in Alice, even from 8 years back that very day. This definitely my person to so like I'm even what Quinla might have done might have been like Quinla might have straight away erased like the memories of Alice and might have totally performed a sacred art spell on Alice to basically turn Alice to like the present day age of Alice, even 8 years back. And Gwenda might have also performed another precise sacred art spell to like stop Alice's aging as well. And then Gwenda might have also performed another spell to like precisely turn Alice to an integrity knight. An integrity knight with like secret skills as well is like the scenario that I'm just literally burning. So like for Queen, even to the person they added to be like her personal commander and her absolute favorite and special person's commander in the Queen. It's definitely my that has like way more flexibility and way more courage than all other Indian Knights. That will be along the lines that Queen might be viewing and it's definitely my personal commemoration and like Queen might be like might have been like also confident either confident or overconfident that Villa might have only thought that by erasing all of Alice's memory, like even though Alice would be courageous and daring and Alice even has like would be having like the potential to like eventually once again break the tab index in the future as well. Still, Villa might be totally confident or overconfident think that by erasing all of Alice's memory, like Alice would never break the taboo index to the point of ever turning against like Gwynla or disobeying Gwynla. Might have been like the extreme confidence or confidence that Gwynla had. So like since Gwynla at that point, from that day 8 years back, Gwynla might have only gotten like an absolute favorite and special personal command in their night in Alice. Like it would be precisely because of that joy that Gwynla might have precisely promoted especially the red integrity and I like dissolved to like from like the post from his like post of like guarding like the northern border to like basically guarding like the giving him like the promotion to basically guard like the central cathedral building from precisely 8 years back, but precisely because of this exact reason. It's definitely my positive impression. Yes, so like definitely my positive impression right now is that for like the artificial flush rate of like the red indented and I tell you about like I think his name's like but like basically him being like his artificial flush rate being a lot stronger than like the artificial flush rate of Riot or like Elder is definitely my positive impression. And especially because of the reason I'm talking about, like, even while Kirito is in fact right now revealing the truth about like the rendering that Nights like past and considering still him totally believing like absolutely and blindly totally believing Kirito. And basically even though he in his memory he still wouldn't be having that I'm considering right now for him to definitely not be able to like get his memory even through with Kirito making all this revelation about the truth about his past, like and considering still him not being able to like be able to like access that memory currently, but still him like totally blindly believing in Kirito rather than him totally like his like mind totally split between like the fear of the truth as well as his like already set up like beliefs firm beliefs, blind beliefs, and they believe that way, like how like Rios as well as like elderly like artificial ones like crash on when like faced with the truth, like I'm delivering. In the case of like the precise red interconnect it will be totally different. Like I'm delivering actually being able to like handle the truth without actually having any memories of the truth, and still being able to like handle the truth in a way like he would be totally blindly believing Kirito and blindly believing that what Kirito is in fact saying is the truth and what he has been taught or he has believed this entire time is like. And I think being having this like being precisely and calmly being able to handle that is like his artificial like being like strong enough to be able to like calmly and blindly being able to like handle that truth from Kirito is like the scenario that I'm looking on the cutting and I'm looking to impression. So like that indeed my particular impression right now is that like basically even well right now Kirito knows have like the knowledge as to like the prestige that like the requirement to restore the memories of everyone basically like that requirement lies in those items that basically those like magical kind of items that basically lies on the floor above where like here left room is on top of like the central cathedral that basically Kirito needs to like have access to that item to precisely be able to like restore back all the memories of everyone in like the human territory. Even while Kirito being full and well aware of this, and even while Kirito having like seen for himself how extremely disturbed, like even Eldray got as like Kirito through Yuto was trying to like convince Eldray of the truth about Eldray's past and everything. Even while basically Kirito is like well and fully aware of all these things, like still for Kirito currently in like the present, still trying to still for Kirito, even after knowing all this, still for Kirito to like really talk about and reveal like the past of like the Red Interior Knight to the Red Interior Knight would be precisely Kirito totally trying to like attempt things beyond like what might be considered logical in like the according to like the game logic of like of the game of like the virtual world of Underworld. It's definitely my personal theory and direction. Precisely like exactly like how Cardinal only like expects to eventual possible fates for the virtual world of Underworld. Yet like Kirito is like actually daring to like even believe for like attempt to like create like another better like way better and satisfying fate for like the even as like into is like only daring to even attempt to like create like more satisfying and fate with for like the virtual fate for like the virtual world of underworld. Even while Kirito, everything Kirito will be doing right now would be like connected to like that attempt of Kirito. But precisely like Kirito, even while knowing all this, like it was still trying to like revealing like the truth about the past of like the Red Indian Night as well would be like connected to that attempt of Kirito. Especially my person Kirito might be totally having even think beyond might be even thinking beyond logic and Kirito might simply be able to like sense of like the positive that basically justifies Red Indian Night possibly being able to handle the truth about his past. So Kirito might be totally attempting to see if that Kirito might be having that feeling so like Kirito might want to like see that through and really might genuinely want to attempt and by attempt to see if like he is able to like actually handle the truth without just like artificial plug like crashing. So this might be the precise attempt that Kirito would be currently doing by revealing the truth about like this precise Red Night path, even while Kirito knows of everything that has happened so far through like Kirito through the truth being revealed to like an artificial bug like it's definitely my positive impression. So like definitely my positive impression right now as for like in like the same read that the writer might sees every day, like the girl would definitely be vanilla. It's definitely my positive impression. And as for like of having this like silver ring, I'm considering like precisely since that silver ring that Vanilla was like wearing in that ring was like precisely also being another set of like that very same silver ring was present in precisely in the Rentegger in the granite and fingers as well. And this might have definitely been like and especially since this like his memory ever since he can remember from like the beginning itself since he can remember. And also I think it might totally have to do with like precisely the silver ring most likely having like the power like but different Quinlan might have precisely like erase like for Quinlan to be able to like erase like the memories of like Amber so far like Quinlan might have only especially with like Alice's full name ends with like a synthesis 30 and I think like Eldridge's like name ends with like a synthesis 31 I think like so far like definitely like among like the great IntegrityKnight army of Vanilla, there will be only a total of like 30 or 31 total of like IntegrityKnight present. So definitely I'm going to remember. So like I'm going to bring all these 31 IntegrityKnights like precisely who had like their memories fully erased and mostly think precisely Vanilla might have done been able to achieve all that precisely using this right silver ring item. That's definitely my person to remember. The silver ring item would be definitely a magical item that Vanilla might have even created using her sacred art spell. She might have created this like magical a total of like so far might have created like a total of 31, 30 or 31 of like these exactly silver ring like item and might have perform like created the magical silver ring item in such a way that like putting on the silver ring onto precisely like the people she wants to turn into her integrity knight soldiers like will be like all having like each and every single one of the queen left integrity knights will be having this like silver ring on their fingers, including like the present day integrity knight as well. It's definitely my personal preference. And that would be like the main thing that would be like keeping that whole control, ensuring that whole control that that safe ensuring that control and that entirety of like the basically fact that basically the in the each and every single one of like the Indian is having like their memories being kept erased in like an erased state like will be all due to like the presence of like this like that silver ring on their finger. That's definitely my personal impression. So like I'm considering even right now like this very exact red Indian as well. Even though the person would be having that red silver ring on his like finger, certainly member ranges. So like the key to like basically restoring the memories and freeing all the Indianites army of like the Twin Lambert the ring would be precisely that he would be totally lying in like destroying like the silver ring on each of their fingers. It would be precisely through the silver ring that present on Quinla as well as like would be present on each of like the Indianites through which like Quinla are fully able to like maintain that control over like each of these internet of these great number of years. So yeah, Ambassador Quinla might be what Quinla might have done might have been like initially straight away find the precise desired might have summoned like the first character that she might have wanted to turn into internet to like the center gather line. She might have performed some sort of a sacred art spell and straight away put them into sleep and then straight away she might have maybe like because like I'm preparing each time since like Queen Love might not want to like go through the hassle of like performing multiple sacred art spell to erase and like modify like the interior night into like the desired kind of ace and like the desired kind of like fighting style and everything that Queen Love would want. So like I'm preparing Queen Love might have totally created all this created like this ring so that like basically whatever is like the desire whatever kind of desire that the Greenland wants to of like the memory erasing and like the power grid that Greenland wants for like each of like the internet would be like instantly be possible just by the act of Greenland putting on just the silver ring onto the fingers of like each of the internet. Instantly they would be turned into like the her desired form of like an internet. There's also like a positive that I'm completely totally different. So right now my total remembrance is that like the silver ring portion of like the revelation of like the red night for like has been given to suggestion and number the ring gives to either pulling away like the silver ring that would be definitely present in like the red night finger and maybe I'm remembering like that no matter how much get to right like that the silver ring being extremely hard to like be able to like remove from like the finger so it would be totally tight, so extremely tight. So like I'm delivering maybe for Kirito precisely with like the absolute focus using a sword, like most likely breaking that silver ring and instantly like I'm delivering maybe for like this precise related connect getting back its like memories that way instantly. It's also like a scenario that I'm delivering. So that way that's like also like that way kids join you the hopefully figuring out that basically to like her to free all of like the Indians and that way destroy like the force the army force of Finland what they have to do is like destroy like somehow managed to like destroy like the silver ring on the thing. That was like the eventual scenario of like the realization that if individual would be getting that ambassador only for members of the reimbursement. And also like definitely members of the reimbursement like it is because of like that president that only for getting to like even mention that basically he too had like in that ring he too had like a silver ring would be like the on his finger and might even have that possess silver ring. And I was that since like the day he can remember like he might have not only had the silver ring on his finger, but he might have never even been that silver ring might have been put onto his finger in such a way that he might have even from day one like he might that he can remember like he might have never been able to like remove that silver ring at all. It's also like my present remembrance. So and he might have never even thought of like the possibility of like that silver ring like possibly having like such extreme importance and that being like a main factor in his like memory being kept erased and him being absolutely controlled by Canada. So also my personal impression. So like I'm super precisely because of this reason like he might have totally forgotten he might have totally not felt like that it would be important to mention that he too had like a silver ring on he too even to the person they have like the very same kind of like silver ring on his finger as well. It's definitely my personal remembrance and especially because of him not revealing this to Kirito and the Silver Ring Kirito was not able to like realize that most likely realize that basically the Silver Ring has like such a major role that it leads the entire effect the memory erasing as well as the control over by Gwenda over all this internet precisely through these precise silver rings and that like the precise girl that we saw in his dreams was actually like Fiona Labby. Really kept on not being able to figure all this out might have to do with like him not revealing about like the red night not revealing to Kirito about like he too in like even to like the person having like the silver ring on his fingers beneath the glow red glow that he's like wearing right now. It's definitely my person to remember. Okay, so like definitely my person to remember right now is that like basically even while like the red in the United currently is in like an extremely sad disappointed and kind of disturbed state like I'm looking still for Kirito to like give him the choice as to like whether he wants to like live or like alive with like Kirito and Yuzo like I'm looking that would be solely due to like Kirito's extreme overconfidence. Like Kirito would be like off in an overconfident manner would be like might be like probably things that basically with like Kirito having revealed the truth and having him like totally seeking like being curious and giving him that curiosity and seeking the truth like him possibly definitely deciding to like him definitely deciding to like basically not turn himself to the an act of punishment, but like him totally deciding to like get to bit only blindly and or confident manner would be totally think that he would be like right now totally deciding to like ally with like Chip and Yuzo. But like I'm just differing as what like the scenario that would be happening about differing him to like totally be extremely confused, disturbed and in a sad and disappointed state that like I'm differing him right now I'm differing maybe him not being able to handle it. That I'm differing even by he wants like artificial fluctuate won't be crashing and still him because he still wouldn't be able to like handle it. Him basically deciding to like take his own life. It's like that the present day tonight like Red and tonight taking his own life was like the scenario that end up happening. That would be something that the overconfident kid would be not at all. That would be like a scenario that the overconfident kid would be like not at all expecting. It's definitely my person membership. Like I'm looking for him to like totally take his life and straight away Kirito feeling that absolute regret that he could have done more than just like give someone such a sad and depressed disappointed state like the choice rather than that like Kirito feeling that absolute regret and thinking he could have done better and he could have actually given proper encouragement and motivation uh, to basically to get to actually put more of an effort to get that right in there nice to like basically to so that like he would want to live to like know the truth to find the truth and basically in the like he would also ending up being alive to like it and you and like that way like they would be like basically like so that like he would also survive as well as like they would the probability of bringing down in that as well would be like only increasing like basically Kito like at that point I'm considering Kito to totally feel that absolute regret and guilt that basically of like in an overconfident man of having like not put enough effort uh, towards like that red Indian night towards saving that red Indian night like it's like the scenario that I'm considering only putting right now. and my percentage impression. So like definitely my percentage impression right now is that like right now as like since like it's so end user it's in like the 20% floor. And about the bring there would definitely be some Indian nights definitely present like more than three at least three or more Indian nights present definitely present in like the 21st floor as well. It's definitely my personal impression. So like I'm considering this would be one detail that IntegrityKnight in like the very start might have not been aware of. Definitely that he might have only had like the knowledge about like IntegrityKnight being present only in like the great number of IntegrityKnights present in like the 50th floor. When in actuality like I'm considering like maybe or it might be like recently that PNL might have like changed that up and basically decided to like add like three, maybe like two or three in there, maybe three in there, three or just four in that connect in like the 25th floor as well. Since like 25th is like the first half of like the 50 uh for checkpoint is like definitely my percentage temperature. So like I'm preferring the first orders given by and my percentage temperatures are like the first orders as well would be in like categorized manner as well. Uh, would be given by Greenland to the Indians in like the different floors, which that also definitely my percentage temperature. While I'm preferring the process orders Greenland gave to like the red Indian in like the very initial floors was basically to like precisely capture Skitto and Yujo like I'm also preferring like the precise orders that would be given to the most likely existing three or four Indian that would be present in like the 25th floor. Number differing would be the order to like do their best to like capture Kirito and Yujo alive. And if it's not possible, then like ensure to like the exact access might be like the order given to like the Internet in like the 25th floor and like as for like the Internet in like the 50th floor would be to like straight away eliminate without it and not even let them survive like to straight away eliminate Kid and Vijo if they even makes it to like the 50th floor. So in such a categorized manner, like basically, Brenda might have given her orders to like all the different Indian like the different floors. That's definitely my personal preference. So like I'm considering maybe for like there being like Indian as even way more greater number of like Indian than like the 50th floor and in like the 75th floor as well. It's also like a positive that I'm considering of the body and my positive impression. So and I'm also putting like the possibility of most likely maybe like I'm also putting two positives. I have one positive like by the time Kirito and Yujo will be making it to like the very top of like the central tower and would be trying to like stealthily make it to like the floor above like the top of like the central tower to seek in search for like the fresh item that would be able to like store like the memories of everyone. Like I'm considering still them to like totally you don't most likely noticing basically so like Ambassador was the at that point, like even with like the absolute stealth, like while Kirito and Kujo we initially get into like past the top floor and make it to like the floor above the top floor of like the central cathedral. Like Ambassador is still most likely still second about the preparation that definitely you go totally noticing and in like the floor in like the top floor of like the central cathedral. Basically that being like in this case that way you because of you Joe keep yourself falling for that trap. It's the one possibility that I'm considering. The other possibility is basically most likely once like it when ego will be even reaching like the top floor of like the central cathedral before they would be even able to like move to like the floor even above like the top floor, like them totally being confronted by precisely like the Indian I had like the other possibility. Since like my percentage impression right now is that like because like according to my recent percentage impression like I'm basically only putting add like the Indian I had to be like the QNLS like strongest and personal top commander and bodyguard kind of like Indian I like I'm preferring like the other possibility that I'm preferring is definitely for like the Indian Knight had to be present to be precisely present in like the top floor along with like Quinella to precisely guard Quinella like the other possibility as well that I'm definitely only preferring. And if that's the case, then that's the scenario where I'm preferring would be like on the top floor at that point for like a fight between like Jujo versus Alex and simultaneously in like the same room like a fight between Quinella and Kirito. It's like the scenario that I'm preferring. And Jujo would be like definitely, even though you don't be hesitant in like fighting and like you just like upload like total, you don't be totally putting that as your faith and hope in just you just only focus while fighting up against against like the internet and should be precisely so use it like short sword to like precisely be able to like use the short sword and basically that way to user's only goal would be to like that way like save and that would be like the only goal only thing in user's mind while fighting off against Hades like while totally trying to like totally somehow manage to like overpower and defeat Swinella. But I'm considering as that it's that the scenario then I'm considering as like the fight would be progressing eventually for things to totally happen eventually totally to go totally through like the opposite of like what you would be wanting, like things happening totally contrary to that, like and with like I'm considering at some point maybe I'm considering Kirito totally shouting out to you to like hand over such like shots of because like Quinla would be so extremely awkward that it really I'm considering eventually like Kirito will totally be able to like think forward and will be able to like see the bigger picture that basically that as to like how even more than like basically them being able to like use their short sword, them using their, and they would be only having like a single short sword. The other would be like just perfectly cardinal. So like at that point, like Kirito would only being able to like see forward and seeing, being able to see the bigger picture that basically their highest priority is to basically use that short sword on Twinel and not Alice. To precisely stop Twinel would be like the higher, even most important thing that they should be doing. Like the higher priority should be that would be along the line if you're getting to totally stop like uh the whole entire to basically save everyone in like the if you're thinking along this line, like if you're be seeing along the lines of like saving everyone in like the human territory from like the love like the villainous role and everything. So he wants to do that like to say everyone including Alice like their priority should be like basically using the short sword on Quinella would be along the line made that fight that Kirjo most likely realizing and thinking. And so that way like I'm just remembering Kirjo most likely mid battle like totally shouting out to initially telling Yujo to like hand over like the sword to Kirito. And Yujo most likely refusing and like eventually as like the fight for example differing Kirito angrily shouting at Yujo to like hand over like the sword. So, and maybe even Kirito somehow managing to like forcefully take out like the short sword from Yujo as well. It's also like a possibility that I'm considering Kirito only using that on Quinella and keep stopping Suinala like the scenario that I was preparing. But still at that point, I was preparing scenario is like Alice still won't be having her in the day night. Alice would still won't be getting back her memory. So like I was preparing even after that, like that itself would be like totally disturbing Yujo and would be creating a kind of like dislike for users towards like Kirito. At that point, it's also like about that I was preparing. And then about the parang you join Kirito totally deciding to like quickly capture like the plot above and basically quickly searching for that precise item that would like only restore back the memories of everyone and waiting before them even being able to like find that item like I'm about to like somehow still outsmart still being able to set herself free or like taking advantage of like the linking with like cardinals to still be able to like be able to like send her in the night force against like Kirby or something. And basically that way for some sort of a situation happening in this like Vienna once again being like finally getting back her powers and everything and basically Vienna once again after Kirby and Yujo and that causing like basically Kirby and Yujo to not be able to like access that precise item like a magical item on like the floor above like the top floor of the center back to store all the memories of like or everyone in like the everyone in like the human suffering and that way like it joined you at that point without them being able to access the item like them being forced to like basically escape and run away from like the central gather and like I'm suffering by then like somehow Yujo might even succeed in like Yujo and Kirito might somehow maybe like in that battle maybe like Alice might somehow go unconscious as well. It's also like a possibility that I'm suffering. So like somehow I'm suffering Yujo and Kirito somehow managing to like get escape with Alice is like around like an eventual scenario that I'm preparing. But even then Alice because like it kind of you don't won't be able to like get back Alice with like memory. The super thing like even while they would be able to like escape and run off with like Alice still like Yujo would be like extremely acting indifferent towards like Kirito and Yujo would be extremely disliking Kirito, and Ido only turning against Kirito is like the scenario that I'm totally putting. Ido not starting to like not trust Kirito at all, like, and the whole friendship was that great bond of friendship between like Yujo and Kirito breaking from that point on, especially because of like Yujo totally selfishly prioritizing only Alice, and Alice like getting her memory alone, while Kirito would be like totally selflessly like working hard towards like we are restoring back like the memories of everyone in the Kilometer Ring building, and which like due to like Yujo most likely being like extremely mature, Yujo won't be able to like understand, and until like the very distant future. It's also like a scenario that I'm considering. So like I'm considering Kirito and Yujo along with Alice like literally them basically escaping to like the finally succeeding in like escaping to the darker way, and even while being in like the making it all the way to the darker way as well, like I'm considering still Yujo totally not being able to like understand Kirito at all, and basically Yujo still being like showing like a certain level of like enmity towards like lack of like friendship and everything, trust and friendship, everything towards like Kirito. So like an eventual possible scenario that I'm also totally putting in my person to impression. So like to leave my person to impression right now as for like the eighth of the sleep strategy of like filter strategy of like Kirito and Yujo. I'm also putting definitely like it would be like kind of like a villainous kind of like strategy. It's definitely my personal and that maybe the sole reason for like Kirito and Yujo deciding to like not to actually like put on a fight against the society, even against like current Indian United, definitely my personal and still like because like their days of their sleep would be like precisely to like without even it would be like the realization that Kirito and Yujo would be currently having that basically that they could like even defeat all the Industry in like a villainistic manner, where like they wouldn't even have to fight them like as even right as they would be about to like fight Kirito and Yugo, like Kirito and Yugo could straight away uh, tell them about like give them the truth that basically they are all being controlled by the pontific, and basically like by Quinel and basically how like the truth about their past, like basically that would be like one thing that Kirito and Yujo by now, or the repeated incidents like those kids and Yujo might not only figure that basically the truth is something that basically all this like kids will be well and fully aware that the truth is something all this artificial flux like simply couldn't handle. So like should totally use the truth against them, the truth about their past, the truth about having like all these indoctrinates having their memories erased, and the truth that they are all being like their memories have been like manipulated, and everything about them have been manipulated by like the administrator, and like everything that they believe is like a lie to basically present straight away present and attack them with that truth, and basically to like that way destroy them from destroy like their confidence and everything, and basically to that way bring them like down that in such a manner to be like the ultimate case of the sleeve strategy of Kirito and Yujo. So definitely my necessary understand. And like a still, but that would be like feeling as like a villainous strategy for Kirito. Under different society because of this like Kirito with only thinking of like only using such a strategy only if like there is like no other absolute choice of like defeating their United opponents. That would be they would be facing. It's definitely my necessary approach. And my personal career inspirations also that like it's always some kid to even deciding to like reveal the truth about like the past of the Red Dead Night might have been definitely because like Kito might have after the fight like and like the Red Dead Night had been like even talking to Kirito and Juzo, like at that point Kirito might have definitely been able to sense that like at this point like Kirito might be like he might be able to like handle the truth like, at least to a certain extent without like just like other but like crashing or anything might be along the line without him dying like Riot or like Eldari might be something that Kirito might have already felt, and that would be the sole reason for Kirito even deciding to like reveal the truth about like the Red Dead path. So that Red Dead is definitely my person to impression that I'm still thinking about it. So like instead of like ensuring that like the Dark Knight would be able to like handle that truth, like instead of that like using that truth like in like an attacking manner, like would be like this ultimate ace, like ace of the sleeve strategy of Shinra and Yuzo, which would be like a totally villainous kind of feeling strategy for Kirito. So definitely my personal impression. Also, like definitely my personal impression right now is that like even while Kirito, Yuzo, we totally believe that they are actual ace of the sleeve, if it's their actual perfect step and control, like I'm also saying, like from Kipto's point of view, like Kipto is basically hiding, like because like Kipto would be totally feeling that like Yujo would totally misuse it in like an extreme villainous manner. Kipto might have that feeling that like Yujo would be like totally like misusing that for their actual ace of their sleeve, which would be like only one thing that Kipto alone would be aware of, which would be to like slightly use like the truth about like the past of like all these interference, like unleashing that truth onto them, and that way like destroying them and being them destroying them. Basically, that would be like seen as like extremely witness fixed by Kirito, and it will be totally fearing the possibility of like user only misusing that if like Kirito even produce that to use that as like an attack against all these interference, and then it might be the precise reason for like Kirito not even having talked about using that as in like an manner to use definitely members of the Ramadan. So like the genuine actual ace of the sleeve for Kirito might not definitely be like the perfect control weapons are, but like for Kirito like the active alone like actual ace of the sleeve would be precisely this exactly like attacking them with that by revealing the intention the truth about their past. It's definitely my person to impression, and also my person to impression is that like even though that precise red integrity night, even though currently it's 20 Joe is in like the 24th floor, and like even though like that red integrity night have decided not to show up, and also predicting like definitely that red integrity night have definitely not taken his life by himself. It's definitely my person to represent. Like I'm also praying like Kit and Yujo, what might have happened might be Kit and Yujo like waiting for him to like make his decision, and he might have totally told Kirito and Ijo that like he would just stay there and wait until wait for like the judgment or like the punishment from Fionnuala. That might have been just a response, a response, and basically Kirito and Yujo might have decided to like straight away proceed with themselves upstairs by themselves. Might have been what might have happened. So like I'm considering eventually like once like it Yujo will be either it would be on like the 50th floor, or I'm considering it would be like eventually once they will be like making it all the way to Queenella that right now those that on the brand. Once they would make it making it to Queenella, I'm considering Queenella since like Queenella definitely would be expecting like it to end user to show up, and since like I'm considering Queenella would be totally and well I'm fully aware of like that absolute bond of like friendship between like how precious that Alice is to like Kirito and Yujo. I'm personally totally also predicting like Queenella more like leaning more to right now. I'm also leaning more towards like the possibility of like Queenella on top of like having Quinla most likely having like the Internet as a special top strongest like Internet command and bodyguard like even on top of that like Quinla might be also seeing along the lines as if like using like the Internet Alice against Kirito Yujo would be like the best strategy for her because she would be only would be by now well and fully aware of like how extremely Kirito and expecting the possibility that basically of like it being extremely hard for like precisely Kirito and Yujo to be able to like fight off against Alice, someone who they care about so much. So that so Gwenda would be obviously thinking along such lines and planning to like use Alice as like a trump card or like a secret version of a, like a strategy against Kirito and Yujo. And because of this reason, I'm going to bring Alice most likely being present in like that precise top floor of like the central cathedral. So like I'm considering that too coupled with like Greenland like absolute strength. I'm threatening like definitely Kirito and Yujo most likely being in that a fix or like in like a serious trouble eventually in like the possibly in like the soft floor fight that would be soft floor of like central cathedral fights that would be taking place. And at that point I'm preparing when Kirito and Yujo would be preparing maybe a situation or like a scenario when like Kirito and Yujo would be losing all their thoughts and would be totally expecting them to be like die by the hands of either the Indian tonight Alice or like Twinula, but like at that very last second, I'm preparing most likely this very right Indian tonight, like when Keto and Keto would be least expecting it, like by then like this size around Indian tonight would be having to be like uh would be totally having a change in his like mind and decision, and he might by then like having decided to like help Keto and Hugo out in like bringing down Twinula. And so, like in that last moment, like critical final moment when either Kit or Ujo or both of them would be on like the verge of death, like on the top floor of the center of their precisely this red IntegrityKnight like showing up to their rescue and like his like enter like giving them that for free opening to be able to like return back into that fight and basically that allowing them to like virtually be able to like make the progress in that fight is also one possibility that I'm considering. Or like the other possibility is eventually once like Queen La would get totally even outsmarting like the short sword use and the linkage and everything, and once like Quinla would be like once again getting back her powers, and basically once Quinla would be once again after Kirito and Yuzo, and Kit as like Kirito and Yuzo would be in like at that point most likely being in like a trap like state, and maybe I'm different by then like Alice would be in like an unconscious state as well through like the fighting. So Yuzo might be carrying Alice also like about to that and was different. But, so like at that point, but still at that point I was referring to in that only maybe like somehow managing to trap Kirito and Yuzo. So like at that point, maybe I'm also pursuing the possibility of like this precise red danger and like totally at that point like sacrifices putting himself like making it to that precise location and like sacrificing himself to so that like Kirito and Yuzo would be able to like escape. And that way like Kirito and Yuzo solely succeeding in like being able to like escape out of with like Alice out of like the central cathedral building solely due to the sacrifice of the intestine is also like an eventual possibility, like a scenario that I'm going to be only putting in method to remember. It's like definitely method to remember right now as basically since like you just like perfect weapon control are just like a defensive one, and while Tito would definitely be like an attack is like perfect weapon control are. About different like them complementing each other, but like eventually like Kirito and Yuzo having like the perfect teamwork where like while Yuzo will be using his like defensive uh perfect weapon control art to like guard Kirito. Kirito will be using his like attack based art and basically like precisely like with the absolute teamwork like them their powers like complementing each other. And it's like the scenario that I'm multiplying. So like with that absolute teamwork, I'm multiplying Kito and Yuzo using their perfect weapon control up either in like the 50th floor or like while during like the beginning stages while they would be fighting off against like Queen Ella. It's like the scenario in which like I'm multiplying like Kito and Yuzo using their perfect weapon control in like the absolute teamwork and like the absolute think in such a manner is like the mutual scenario that I'm looking on the thing. Like at that point I was developing like using their powers like Yujo perfectly standing back and in like the fight like Yujo already standing back and basically guaranteeing like that absolute perfect defense for like Kirito while Kirito would be like absolutely free to basically only focus on his like attacks on his like enemies like just attack and attack alone without even be having to even worry about like guarding himself or anything like it. So totally being able to like perfectly and perfectly being able to like unleash that powerful attacks of like the weapon control of Kirito. So it's like that freedom Kirito will be getting solely due to that Yuzo using his like power, the perfect control of in such a manner. It's like the scenarios that I'm probably usually perfect. That's definitely my big injury right now. I've got like the two kids, like mysterious kids that have shown up on TikTok and use stuff. Like definitely I'm looking for those people would definitely be part of like Twin Love forces. Definitely my big injury. So definitely like they would part of like Twin Love stealth force. Like they would be like most likely assassins. Like so basically because like this is like Twin Love only expecting like get to and you to during this time to like definitely try to make their way to like the top of windows and because that was definitely for these two ships to show up definitely will be precisely under like the owners of like Queen that to totally behave to basically eventually stealth to totally like their goal would be like to basically earn the trust of Tito and Yujo and convince them that they mean no harm and basically they has that somehow that basically they would be like having some sort of an excuse to like try to convince Tito and Yujo that somehow they got lost or something and basically somehow in order to like convince kids and everyone somehow earn their trust so that like eventually they will be able to like stealthily assassinate like backstab and assassinate and take Kirito and Yujo's lives that way. It's like the scenario would be like the first orders given to them. It's definitely my personal reference, but reasons like they don't even have any armor and they are kids while there are definitely two of them, basically one for Kirito as well as one for Yujo, to like bring down one to bring down Kirito and one to bring down Yujo. And even while they don't have any armors or like even while they are just kids, like them still wielding swords as well. uh, would be definitely my would be precisely because of this reason, like to perform like a stealthy assassination of like Kipto and Yujo after burning their breath, and that way to get Kipto and Yujo to like have drop their guards, where like uh, at that point to like take the advantage and basically assassinate would be like the first orders that precisely gonna would I was given to uh, the two of them. It's definitely my personal reaction. So like I'm perceiving straight away I'm perceiving both get like you job the last get of straight away feeling that absolute extreme suspicion towards like these two kids like the scenario that I'm perceiving, and I'm perceiving eventually like I'm perceiving Kirjo definitely wouldn't be like would still be like he would still not be getting convinced, and user will not be getting convinced by no matter whatever excuse that innocent excuse that they would be trying to like tell and trying to convince Kirjo and user. Like initially I'm perceiving neither Kirjo nor Yujo being convinced at all. So Kirito and Yujo initially like let them like they would be like considering maybe saying things as if like they lost their way in like this central cafe thing. They live in like central cafe and have lost their way or something. So initially I'm considering even though Kirito and Yujo would be having that extreme suspicion towards like them, I'm considering eventually Yujo totally falling for the trap and like Yujo totally like that way like eventually dropping his guard while Kirito would be like still definitely would be like maintaining that for his guard, keeping his guard up, and would be always like might be like as they would be traveling and making it to like the more and more flows like I'm delivering Kirito and Yujo. Kirito will be precisely keeping his guard up and might be like always expecting like at any point for like them to like turn against them and try to like perform like a stealthy kind of like attack against them. When like would be like that basically they would be like only patiently waiting for Skipto and user to like have drop their guard. So like I'm delivering eventually for user definitely falling for the trap and user only trusting. And I'm delivering at that point precisely I'm delivering them like trying to attack Yujo, and at that point I'm delivering Skipto who would be like totally expecting such an eventual attack would be like totally protecting and saving Yujo. So it's like the scenario that I'm delivering, and I'm going to putting most likely Kirito and Yujo at that point like totally freezing away the thoughts, their thoughts and basically destroying their thoughts like the most likely scenarios that I'm going to putting. Kirito and Yujo like most likely using their swords and fighting on like the tiny swords and on the others like tiny swords and basically destroying the tiny swords, and that would be like the scenario that I'm going to putting.